HowExpert! Top 10 online gaming tips and lessons. HowExpert publishes how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit HowExpert.com to learn more. Moving on. Let's talk about the HowExpert Top 10 online gaming tips and lessons. Number 1. Have fun. Your mind is at its best when you're having fun. The fun factor by itself is a clear motivation for you to stay dedicated to the task or activity you're involved in, and it will cause you to automatically apply yourself to the tips that follow. Play games that you like with people that you like. When you're having fun and not getting frustrated and tunneling on every setback, and there will be many, others will have fun playing with you too. Number 2. Challenge yourself. Typically, doing something in life that you can practically do in your sleep will likely become boring and eventless over the course of time. You need thrill and excitement in your life. Try playing against opponents who you know are better than you or at least just as good. There are so many of them out there, no matter how good you are. There is no greater feeling than that which is obtained by overcoming insurmountable odds. For example, that moment that you and your team made a 10-point comeback in that Halo match, defeating the opposing team with a final score of 50-49. Also, that moment when you knew that any one out of 100 split decisions you made during the game could have meant victory or defeat, but you clutched it out anyway. This is the stuff that legends are made of. Number 3. Don't fear failure. Just as this is a clear virtue for everything else in life, the same also applies for this genre. While it's important to set your goals up with consequences lest they be fulfilled, just know that there are times that you are going to fail. There is no point in fearing that which is inevitable and a natural occurrence. Pick your battles wisely and don't treat every match like it's the grand finals in a tournament. There will be time for that, but it doesn't have to be every time you pick up a controller. Remember that online gaming and the fact that it's a game provides you with the luxury of being able to pick yourself up and try again as many times as you want. Don't let failures or the fear of them shut you down, keep you from progressing, trying new things, and picking yourself back up. It's not like you can injure yourself like you can in a physical sport if you make a mistake. Don't be too hard on yourself. Number 4. Discipline and practice. If it comes to it, use your failures as an advantage by recording them and making sure you do at least something each time to mitigate the cause of what occurred. I call this failure dissection. It may be painful to look back at some of your most embarrassing failures, but the reward will be an exponential improvement. This also circles back to keeping skilled players around you and in your games. Observe them, and when you're able to analyze and identify techniques they employ that you can't, don't be afraid to ask how they do it. Try to practice replicating what they do. Do the best you can, and afterwards, add your own spin to it. Number 5. Make your own metas. I'll stress this again as I did in tip number 3. Do not be afraid to try new things at the expense of losing a game or two. There is a time and a place for everything, and you don't have to treat every match like it's the last one you'll ever play. Dedicate some matches to gathering data and finding out how people play. You may lose those games, but you'll be able to map out every situation and every execution of what goes on in a typical match. For example, finding out how your opponent reacts to certain plays or what strategies are used by default. Take advantage of the bad habits your opponents have and exploit them. Throw some curveballs. Make them play your game by keeping them guessing next time you meet, and never let them get used to or familiar with your style. Number 6. Take breaks. It's important to know when to just walk away. There's only so much stress one's mind can take from constantly competing and attempting to outwit some of the most formidable opponents online, one after another. There is such a thing as mental fatigue, and it takes its toll, especially with the way that online games are designed to draw you in and keep you hooked for hours on end. There are so many games that throw you into an online queue of constantly matchmaking that can be extremely difficult to just interrupt and back out of for most competitively minded gamers. Once you feel an even inkling of fatigue and repetition, take a break. Turn it off for a while and do something else. Clear your mind and make yourself hungry for the next encounter. Don't let your obsession with beating the next opponent keep you from resetting and refueling. Number 7, block out what doesn't help you. This is pretty much self-explanatory. The online gaming community is a spawning ground for trolls, trash talkers, rageaholics, and much of this is made possible by the fact that they're all conveniently able to run their mouths miles away from the person they're degrading through their headsets while sitting comfortably in their chairs. I'd say that this is a safe distance for them to show their darker side to someone else without any real consequences. With that, there will always be someone in your ear telling you how much you suck, or trying to get a rise out of you any way they can to make themselves feel bigger. If what someone is saying isn't helping you play better, it's best to just use the magical device called the mute button. Don't let their problems be your problems. You have enough to work on for yourself. Number 8, don't be a rager. Certain things can really test your nerves and temper in this environment. It's not easy to keep your cool whenever you have someone screaming in your ear or saying things you don't like while you're trying to figure out why the same obstacle in the game always trips you up and causes you to lose. Raging can keep you from being as level-headed and as normal as you can be, and it can also kill the fun for those around you. If you have pent-up frustration that you need to release, refer to tip number 6. Number 9, avoid the blaming game. Oftentimes, competitive players will redirect their mistakes to other people and other things. Here are some examples. The glitch in the game always makes me lose. The weapon my opponent has is overpowered and imbalanced. Or, I'm losing because my team sucks. These are all instances that could indeed have truth behind them, but if you aren't careful, you can find yourself in a world where you never own up to your own mistakes. Remember, there is always something that you can do to make a situation better. Focus more on what you do rather than how much everything or everyone around you sucks. Don't fool yourself into believing that the responsibility of your betterment should always fall into someone else's hands. And number 10, build your community. You can't imagine a game with absolutely no rules or direction, right? There would be nothing to show for improving at the game because there would simply be no way to define what improvement is. This is what a game would look like without a community as its backbone. An empty shell of misdirection and chaotic insanity. A community sets the rules for the game. It defines whether or not you have anything to show for what you're doing and determines how you are rewarded. For example, who sets the prize pool for whomever comes in first place or wins the game? The better the community that surrounds you, the better you'll be. Pour into it as much as you can. Participate in forum discussions. Watch the streams. Stream yourself. And find ways to encourage others to join the fun. Share and trade knowledge with those around you in the same field. Whether you realize it or not, you're all there to motivate and build each other. If you liked our video, be sure to like and subscribe for more HowExpert Top 10 videos on all topics from A to Z in the future. Thank you, have an amazing day, and have fun gaming. HowExpert publishes how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit HowExpert.com to learn more.